City of Stevens Point Board of Water and Sewerage Commissioners meeting, recorded March 11, 2024.
Roll call will be taken as usual. Approval of the minutes of March 11th. February.
I'll move approval.
Second. All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Department claims for the Water Department. Any questions?
On 58739, on that property, Sloman, is that for the well 11?
So this is for the well 4 to well 12 project. It's the property acquisition we needed to actually place well 12, except a good portion of that is getting sold off. I'll jump ahead to one of the items on my director's report here.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So basically, what's going on is, that is closed, as you can see, because that was a McDonald Title Company thing. There's the home, and then there's the vacant lot that was adjacent to the home. We worked out with the owners at that time, and we talked about this prior too, but that we would buy them both, to kind of make it easier on them. There was a gentleman I dealt with, his mother had just moved out, to be down by him in Milwaukee. So the house was vacant, the land was available, we needed the land, and now we have the house, and what we're going to do is, after April 1st, which is what was agreed to in the closing, for him to get their belongings out that they want out, we're going to list it and sell that. So we'll get probably $315 to $325 of that back in the sale of the home.
For a lot?
No, for the house. We're keeping the lot for the well,
Okay.
selling the home.
Okay. Very good.
Yep.
All right, any other questions on Water Department? If not, we'll go on to sewage. Questions? All right. Let's go on stormwater.
I have a question on 58753, the school garden program. Could you,
Yeah, so this is year 2.
okay,
So I haven't not yet done an update on this for this year yet, because this is beginning the project. Starting last year, and let me back up a little bit, we have, one of our MS4 permit is the name of our stormwater permit we operate under, that has requirements for us. One of those requirements is education and outreach, and there's, a 3-year program we're doing with 2 schools a year. Last year they were SPASH and, Point of Discovery pods, where we actually constructed rain gardens outside the school. The students get involved, they pick plants, they actually do a majority of the work, and then it's a matter of year after year education. So for a 3-year investment, it's actually kind of leveraging into a many-year benefit that we can take credit for inside of our annual MS4 permit reporting. So this is an education and outreach component of that.
okay, thanks.
Yep.
So what schools will be coming up?
This year, I believe, is McKinley and, you know what, is it, no, I think it's Washington, but I have between putting this agenda together, I just got a report on last year's, so it'll be on next month's, commission to see what we did last year. So Recycling Connections has been really good to work with. That's the entire thing for the garden, for the administration, for the reporting, for everything. So it's been really good, but I'll bring that forward next month.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions on stormwater?
Got just one more question on school garden program.
Yeah.
Do we have documented evidence that it's doing some good?
Well, I guess it'd be hard to document it yet, 'cause it's brand new, but, the other thing is, what we've done is put them primarily in areas where it's receiving water from an impervious surface that would otherwise run off the site.
Okay.
So it's slowing water down, it's treating it there, and in a lot of cases we've done so far, it's definitely water that's kind of subject to pollutants, like pavement and stuff like that, so, yeah.
Good.
The final set of claims would be for fiber, not much there. No further questions, motion to approve is in order.
So move Nachman.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hold same sign, carried. There's a letter in your packet dated March seventh from Joel regarding paving attachment and an agreement with the Department of Public Works. Joel?
Yeah, so, basically what's going on here, and I wanna back up and talk about kind of how we're modeling this a little bit. Several years ago, rather than putting out a concrete repair, contract, which we get into because if you dig in a new service or repair an existing service or do work on stormwater catch basins, or there's a lot of reasons where we tear up curb, gutter, sidewalk, other concrete. Rather than getting into a contract on that, several years ago, we started working with the streets department because they actually kind of put together an actual flat work crew where they do concrete repair. They do it pretty well. And so we pay them as though they're our contractor now to repair their own infrastructure after we tear it out. And the alternative would be we hire Robleski or Treeweiler or somebody like that that does concrete work. The challenge there being timing. You know, nobody's in a hurry to come repair 20 feet of curb when they could be doing a mile and a half of road. Now, Robleski doesn't do that kind of work, but it's worked really well. The small premium we pay actually, I think, saves us money because we can leave the holes down, ready for pavement, instead of filling them up to the surface, waiting for the contractor coming, digging them back out. So we save a considerable amount of time. This effort is a very similar one where what we're proposing is to actually buy the equipment they need to do our patches for us. But in the end, it actually won't really cost us anything because we're gonna start with a patching credit of $74,150, which is the equipment purchase cost. And so that'll take us a few years to spend down at $65 a square yard, which is actually also very favorable because the smaller patches cost more than the big one, and this is right between them. And so we're gonna spend that down at $65 a square yard, at which point we just start paying that amount to them. So kind of following the concrete repair methodology here, and something that I think is gonna benefit all of us, because then they also have the equipment available to do their repairs, because they get into pavement too and tear it up. Good for both departments, especially good for response to the city. American Asphalt is usually our contractor for this contract that this is replacing. And you've got the folks in the room here that can tell you that there are times when it goes a majority of the summer before certain patches are addressed. And that's annoying, not only for us, because we need to go keep, kind of tending them, fixing them up, but it's annoying for the general public. So this is really gonna kind of help everybody get into a different routine where, you know what, if you're sick of the calls, go patch it, because you have a patcher. And when we're going, hey, we're there right now maintaining them a lot, we won't need to be anymore. So kind of a win-win. But this would be a modification to our capital improvement, which I would propose at a third split across the 3 water utilities.
So at $65 per square yard, I know this is a bit unfair question, but just to give us an idea about a return on our investment, what would you say an average patch is gonna cost, the reimbursement?
Well, average is kind of hard to say because some patches may be 2 feet wide and 20 feet long because they're by a catch basin. Or a patch might be 6 by 6 around a sewer manhole in the middle of the road. or it might be 15 by 20, because we had to dig up the whole road to get services in.
That's what I
So,
said, it's an
yeah,
unfair question.
yeah.
But having
So
said that,
let's do 10 by 15. Let's see, divided by 27, right? Nope, divided by 9. I already screwed that up. 10 by 15, divided by 9, times 65. That's $1,100 for that patch, for 10 by
so
15.
if you divide the 150 by 1,100,
Oh, yeah.
the return on the investment is only gonna be maybe 4 years,
So
6.75 years.
it could be, yeah. We're not, and not only that, but we're talking about a flat cost, which wouldn't be flat. There are years, like during the last couple of years of our curb box project, where we're replacing those little goosenecks, this would have taken us less than 2 months, year and a half, yeah. In a typical year, going years back, I recall that we would go between 25 and 30,000 a year. It was a pretty typical patching year. So yeah, we're in
Okay.
that 4 to 6 probably.
So the other question that popped in my head when I was reading this is, I've been seeing the last couple of years a red city pickup truck pulling a patch
Yeah.
that they, fix the potholes with. They have a lot of them on Della Street, so I see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
How does that replace this, or not replace it? What's the difference between the two?
So that has a capacity of essentially the size of that big plate you see
Yep.
flipped up, which, and that's called an infrared patcher. So they put the material down and they heat the heck out of that thing, and it makes a solid patch, much more solid than scooping it into
For
the
sure.
hole and,
Absolutely,
you know.
yeah.
And they can kind of lift that up and go next to it if they want to, but what we're talking about buying here is kind of the next evolution in that. It's a piece of equipment that goes on the front of a skid steer. It actually is offset off the side of the front. It drives on the pavement and it's patching a hole next to it, which allows them to do linear stuff for us and for them. So 6 feet wide, but they can go as long as they keep dumping material into it. So it has that linear component. It's kind of the next step up.
Okay.
Who's supplying the material? Is it still American or?
Yep.
you-
We drive to, is it usually Mo's and Ewan?
Like Stockton or.
Oh, we go that way? Yeah, yeah. They'll pick it up. Over the years, they're probably gonna buy a bigger skid steer as part of their capital plan to handle it a little better. They'll probably buy a heated box for the truck so that the asphalt stays hot longer, stuff like that. This is just step one.
Other questions?
Would this allow them to do more patching than they're doing now?
Especially stuff that's bigger, yeah. So if they find an area that there's a, more of a linear patch needed, say a tire track or the curb or the shoulder on something's totally blown, they could take care of that with this easier than they can currently. Yeah, so this'll kind of blend between what we're doing ourselves in-house right now and what we do under contract. It'll kind of cover that middle area and go into the contract work a little bit.
I guess what I was wondering is, because the city can't do those now,
Yeah.
it would allow them to do some of those in addition to our work.
Sure, yeah, and actually, what it'll probably do is redirect some of the contract dollars. You know, because, you know, the fact is, if they're right now using that infrared patcher to do 3 in a spot, they'd probably use this instead and do it quicker
Yeah,
and lead to more getting done, yeah.
okay, thank you.
Well, another good argument for doing this is the city has a certain amount of liability if those things are opened up and not, fixed
Yeah.
on a faster basis. And nowadays, with people being as litigious as they are, somebody has a problem with one of those because it was open for 3 months, then we've got an issue, so.
We see bent rim claims.
Any other questions?
Well, this seems like you're gonna save on labor, so if they can do something else rather than keeping
Yeah.
track of the
I-
hole that's possible.
I gotta tell you, one of the things I think we're probably collectively more excited about, though, is the coordination with the contractor.
Yeah.
Because it's this whole thing where, no, you gotta document the patch and say what size it was so we can bill it appropriately. Was it water? Was it sewer? Was it actually done? You know, in this case, the crew doing it, it's their infrastructure. They want to take care of it. They wanna get it done timely. Before, we were at the mercy of the contractor. And again, they've got, you know, more work than they can get done, and so, you know, 6 patches in Stevens Point doesn't rise to the level of, you know, 24 miles of mainline I-39, you know, and so it was difficult, yeah.
Okay, I think a motion to approve the purchases in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And then Joel has another request regarding, GIS services.
So this is a temporary, in the meantime type thing, where we had our, GIS tech who was with us, I know it was listening, I don't know how long, 10 months maybe?
I think it was 11.
11 months?
1 week shy.
Oh, he's 1 week shy of a year. His last day was Friday. He gave us 2-week notice, 2 Mondays ago. And we've got a lot of irons in the fire related to GIS right now. And so I wanted to bring an item forward just to say we've already got good relationships with consultants and contractors for GIS purposes. Some things underway. We routinely do kind of blocks of hours. I just wanted to say, if we can, as is spelled out here, we'd like permission to basically use a little more consulting, a little more contract, up to a point where it doesn't exceed what we'd be spending on wage and benefits in order to fill those gaps. What we're doing is talking through how do we fix this, because the city's been through a couple GIS techs, we've been through a couple GIS techs, we have people turn down offers. There's clearly a structural issue with the way we have that part of the department, not just here, but citywide. And so we're talking about how to change that, how to make it so that we have the structure we need. But in the meantime, our operational needs aren't going away. So just looking for the ability to flex those consulting relationships and contracting relationships in a meaningful way until we figure that out, because it's gonna involve some personnel action, it's gonna involve some working with engineering to say, do we put these two together? Is one of them an analyst and one of them's a tech? Is one of them a manager and one of them a tech? Whatever. We have some things to work through, but in the meantime, we have to keep clicking along. So that's the request.
It's not just until we fill this position, it's,
Well, it's definitely, we wouldn't keep, I don't even know that we're gonna spend at that amount. Probably not. I think it would actually be kind of difficult to. But up until we solve the problem, then we'd go back to on a contract by contract basis.
All right. Sounds good to me. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carried. Water supply and distribution report, Eric.
Good afternoon. Besides the numbers you see, just had a couple of things I wanted to add. We did hire a new inspector, so that is adding a position in the back. She started in mid-February, somewhere around there. So we're training her currently because we have 4 construction projects this year. And we had 2 before. One of them is retiring in June, so we are in the process of hiring his replacement. We're gonna have 2 new people out on utility construction. And also, between the group in here, we're also looking at wrapping up our year-end reporting for our audit and, all of our regulatory requirements. All I had, unless you had questions for me.
Do you think the reason our February pumpage is up so much is because of the fact that it was, well, that should be the opposite. I was thinking there's only 29 days in the month, but what do you think it's all about? Any idea?
Yeah, so actually, I looked before the meeting, the mill did use, about 20 million gallons more than they did in 2023. They're slightly increasing every year, so they're making up most of that increase.
Oh, that's great.
Water sold.
Okay, anything else?
That's all for me.
All right, on to, sewage treatment, Chris.
Something must have come up. He didn't make it over, so, we had
He's on no time.
he was here this morning for our staff meeting. But, you know, in review of the documents, I can stroll through them. Everything looks good. What we're working on there currently, in a lot of ways, is getting services back, that we can bring forward for some of the larger maintenance work that probably should have a component of it bid out. So we're looking to get, a document back from Donahue and Associates on scoping that engineering and bidding services. 'Cause it's kind of right on the line between what you can do and call it, you know, direct contracting and maintenance, and what you can do that should be bid work. Because as soon as you start tearing into structures and stuff like that, it's probably crossed that line. So he's working on that, I know, and we'll see some of that in the months to come. But other than that, all of our equipment stuff is good.
Starts looking good.
Yeah.
All right. Jane, our construction and maintenance report.
Sure. Don't have much to add. Luckily, February's been pretty quiet, so that's good. Regards to Eric mentioned, we had a couple of, contracted jobs that were let out for bid, two of them. The two that were let out for bid was the Forest Creek, and Badger Ave, both of those on the east side of town, so they're out right now.
Badger Ave is the East Park Commerce Center job, that's what they're calling now. So out by Lineage, in the business park from there south, it's gonna be a road connecting to HH. Those are both, by the way, city projects. They're kind of the developer there, so we are inspecting, 'cause the utilities are hours after the fact, but they're the developer, so those are on them financially.
Okay. Director's report, Joel.
A couple things. One of the things that I'm probably gonna bring back to you next month, capital-wise, and it's kinda interesting because it was approved so many years ago. In fact, I kind of forgot about this. We had a 3-flight, contract with the company that did that, pictometry. And we'd like our 3rd flight. Obviously, it's been a while, so we're gonna put it in capital, so I'll bring that back. We are going to be working on options between them and another company between now and then to see which do we want to, do. You'll see that, next month. We talked about the Sloman, purchase and sale, so that property's ours right now, and we'll sell it after April 1st. We're gonna have some, written documentation, if that sells to the future owner, about an active municipal well construction site in their backyard, so that we don't have any.
No NIMBY.
Yeah, yep. The other thing with property rights that we're working on, and there's actually gonna end up being 2 easements. One for the pipe between the water treatment, facility at well 4 and the new well 12. And the other one is actually gonna document the fact that we've been using their driveway for decades, and we've never had a property right there. And so we're gonna get those 2 easements done. They've agreed in concept to both of those already, so they're just, with the attorneys right now, getting drafted up, so we'll see those. All those permissions have been through Plan Commission, so that's all done. We're just working on the recording and things like that.
On the property that we're selling the house on, was there a need to reconfigure the lot to our advantage before resale? Or is it, everything just fit?
Yeah, I'll show you here. It actually, I don't know, you know, how it could have been much more convenient for us, to tell you the truth.
Sure.
So, well 4 is here, in the water treatment facility, and we're abandoning the well, which is right in this corner of the, where'd I go? The well is right in this corner of the building. So we're keeping the whole building for the purpose of the treatment plant, and then we're putting a new well up here on this vacant lot. And this vacant lot was owned by the resident of this house, Sloman's. So they owned them both and were willing to dispose of them together. And so what we're doing is selling this lot and house, and we're putting the well right here. And the well house will look like a garage on a residential lot. We're gonna actually put some false windows in it, so nobody will really know it's a well. It'll just look like somebody's second garage.
Access comes off of
So this is Ridge Court.
Okay.
It's a little cul-de-sac. The main will head out of here and shoot down this hill, kind of intercept this driveway, which is the one we were talking about. We're gonna try to bore this if we can, and then from there, to the treatment facility. It might be either direct barrier board as well. So it would have been a, a real challenge if that empty lot had not happened to be there. We'd be not getting the money back for buying a house. We'd be doing something a little more challenging, so.
Have we seen numbers for what the total approximate cost of this project is gonna be?
Yes, early on, we brought some numbers in. We are going to, the next time you'll see an update is the fact that we're gonna be advertising for the well construction in April, 'cause that's been ongoing capital for a couple of years now. When that comes in, we will have an opinion of probable cost for the rest of it as well.
Okay, other
Already
questions?
done the test drilling on that lot, so we know what to expect?
There's a well right here. It was our test well. It's actually like a 12-inch, it's a big well.
Yeah.
We had them leave it so that as they develop this well, they can use it for drawdown purposes and stuff. So that'll get abandoned when this one's fully developed.
Okay.
Right around when we go operational on it.
Is the blue hatching, is that wetlands, or is that a?
That's floodplain.
Floodplain?
Yeah, which actually is part of the reason why we needed to move it. So well 4 is so low here that, the reason it's offline is 'cause in the spring, we'd get positive Bac-T samples on our raw water. And even though they treated out, okay, our finished water was fine, we had to shut it down after a series of tests. So, there's a big bluff through here.
Yeah.
And so we're up much higher there and good spot.
Would there ever, I mean, I understand the infrastructure with the, you know, the treatment of the water, but that's in the floodplain.
Yeah, these,
Would we ever move it up the hill, onto this vacant lot?
no, I don't think so. This treatment plant is pressure vessels, so we'll be sending the water down pressurized. It'll go through pressure vessels. There's no open system in this one. And then out to the system in a buried sense. So that's all under floodplain. So that facility is still in really good shape, still treating water really well. So, yeah, I think we'll probably leave it right there until it's decommissioned. And at that point, who knows, you know, but this is nice because it's a separate source of water, right? We have a lot of eggs in one basket out in the well field with, wells 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then we have well 11, which is the only one that's separate supply since well 5 was abandoned in Iverson Park. And, so it's nice to have this and that it's treated in a separate location. We'll have backup power here too. We'll be moving one of the generators from well 11 to this site for backup power. They'll power the treatment plant and the well.
How big do we anticipate the well for, well 12 to be?
Big this way? Like diameter?
Thinking.
Okay, I think it's probably about like, it's not over 20, I don't think.
I don't think so, 18.
Yeah,
Oh.
between 12 and 20.
It'll pull about 1,100 gallons a minute. Good, full.
Which is good size. I think we'd hope for around 15 because the treatment plant's designed for that. And then we'd be fully utilizing the, kind of the forward flow capacity of the treatment plant. But in the system of pressure vessels, it doesn't matter, you know, it'll work good at a lower flow.
So how does that volume compare with number 11?
We pump well 11 between 2,000 gallons a minute and 3,400 when we ramp up and down, right?
That's 3,000.
Our average is 2,000 a month, 2,000 gallons per minute over the course of a month. What it can do is much more than that, but for the comparison of other vertical wells, like this one will be, I think, we run between 1,300 and 2,400-ish.
Yeah.
You can
You're
correct,
good. No,
you can
you're good.
correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, we're in that vein. So it'll be on the lower side, but again, it's pretty well paired with the treatment plant,
Sure.
so, yeah.
Any other questions? If not, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Wait, I got one more.
Oh.
This is Mary's last commission meeting with us after,
Oh.
yeah, after about 25 years, Mary? Yeah. So I just wanted to tell you guys, we will thank her properly at an employee luncheon type thing, in the weeks to come here, but I wanted to acknowledge her formally in front of you guys. She's been like a department MVP for a lot of those years, really. And through a lot of development, she's seen a lot of things happen in this department and been a critical part of all of them. So, thank you, Mary.
Well, thanks for all.
Thank you.
Well deserved. Okay, now we can adjourn.
Now we can adjourn, yeah. All right, thanks, everybody. Let me shut this off.
I need a motion.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be quick. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign, carried.
Okay, we're gonna.
On to.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.